anyways, today is, being Christmas, is our last day. It is our day to recap everything that we have learned in our series, and by learned I mean we didn't learn anything, everything that we have done in our series. So we're going to quickly kind of just go through this, do a little bit of explanation here. We got Gunther. Take a quick look at our wonderful Alpha Incorporated clock tower. Look at it. Look at it in its glory. Got our fleet of boats that can haul all of our resources away. But anyway, time to go over what we've done and what we've learned this season. So we did basically, our usual stuff with Create, which is always fine. It's fine. We've done it in the past. A lot of this stuff is stuff that we have experienced before. Not a lot of it is new stuff. This is the newest thing here, is the electricity. And obviously it took us a long time to get that going. But on top of taking so long to get this thing going, we didn't really benefit from it at all. It didn't really do anything for us, right? Getting this set up didn't unlock anything else. We could energize the iron, sure. Ignore this. I did go to Dinosaur Island. We didn't unlock anything by doing this, right? If we look at this mod pack, and maybe it's just that mod pack add-on to this is not finished yet. Where is it? Here it is. Because yeah, there is. I mean, the entire mod pack is this one here, Create New Age, and then it ends down here, Create New Age. That is that whole mod pack. These 5 rows or 6 rows of items. And it doesn't unlock anything different. All it allows us to do is, which honestly this is kind of big, is make this thing so that it's permanently, or it can melt at a higher rate than our blaze cakes. But blaze cakes, we could have done blaze cakes. Where are they? Blaze cakes. Here we go. Blaze cake. Right, would have taken lava and blaze cake base. The blaze cake base was the only thing out of these items that would have been, harder to obtain would have been cinder flour, which just requires you to crush netherrack. Netherrack would have been able to take potion of healing on cobblestone, which does not sound like a great way of doing it, but that's the only way to consistently get it. And obviously with this, you could get glycerine melon slices into awkward potions to get potions of healing. This obviously is netherwort and water. So in theory, right, that is potentially an infinite resource, but you then would be using those blaze cakes to heat up the thing to turn it into lava, which I don't know if actually it was lava even necessary for that. Yeah, it was. You needed the lava to pour into the blaze cake base. So you're using lava to make lava, which I never cared much. So the Create New Age does add in this, which allows you to create lava without needing to expend lava. So I guess the biggest thing that we learned from this season is, if we head outside real quick, is more farming ideas. We spend, 4 or 5 episodes trying to get a tree farm that would be functional on its own. Obviously, it is very functional. Farms we've done years and years in a row at this point. We've done farms. We've never done a cactus farm before, so that was kind of fun. I never did get to making the latch, so we did not get to experience how we could have just compacted the entirety of this into a single item, that being the latch. Back up we go. We built clockwork engines. We built the Stirling engines. These things, honestly, I think are one of the more interesting things here. So it generating at 100 temperature per second, you can get 1,000 KSU. Um, that a lot though? Because like when you look at these things, right, like this, up we go. This itself with what? That's 10 on each side, 20 is making 1,000 KSU. This one is making 512 KSU. So like, right, like this is generating as much as one of those Stirling engines. So I guess it's like technically better. Ugh, man. I wasn't yawning like all day until I started making this. But head back inside here. One of the big things that I think that was fun about this season was our final major project here that we're kind of been staring at the whole time. And I do realize that this could have been expedited a lot faster. If we head down to the basement, obviously the big hang-up that we experience with this is the fact that green dye is producing faster than the white dye, and so right, we don't even have white dye available at the moment. We have like what, 3 pieces of white dye maybe here. It's fine. We could have done this a lot better, and if we do create again next year, which I really don't want to do create again, because that'll be like the 5th year in a row of doing create. We can do it again. I'd really rather not, but if next year comes around and there's not a different mod out, or like one of our other mods hasn't been updated, we might just end up doing it again. There's another one in here that we didn't get around to doing, which I think might be on the back side here. So that's things in MISC. There's the whole oil one. Obviously, we were never going to get into oil. But there's also, in one of these, like a space one. Space. Creating space. So if we do add creating, not like that, creating, which we never realized that we had the ability to do this, because obviously every time I type it at create, it wouldn't show this stuff. But there is this whole like rocket thing, and if we hit ponder, does it actually show us you need rocket controls, enough propellant and methane, thrusters to lift the rocket, and then a seat to prevent falling off. For those of you who have been watching the series since the beginning, we did have Galacticraft back in the day, and this feels like it's almost almost a new version of Galacticraft, because it's got moon, cobalt and aluminum ores that are on the moon. But that's it. Oh my gosh, I literally was not yawning the entire day until I started recording, of course. But so that's something else that we potentially could get into next year. But for the future, we would need to remember that it would be better to have 2 conveyor belts going in with either of the ingredients on one conveyor belt, rather than both ingredients trying to make its way down one conveyor belt. Then we were doing this too, so like we had that set up correctly on this one, which is fine, but it's obviously not fine because this one's backed up. We also needed to expedite our production of bone meal, or white dye specifically, but that's, not an issue at the moment. We had then, when the slime balls, they'd come up, we would then mix them with the heat to turn them into magma cream. Then 4 magma cream combined together will turn it into a magma block. Wash the magma block, get obsidian. And so again, like, I'm thinking if I were to play this mod pack again in the future with the idea of incorporating all of the things that we've learned, this would be a way for us to turn this stuff into um, right? So you look at this, there's a bunch of stuff that this can make that's not relevant to the mod that we're currently playing. But powdered obsidian, right, makes powdered obsidian, which is not helpful. But this is what we wanted, right? We can make the blazing tools and stuff, which not helpful particularly. But the big thing was, of course, trying to get sturdy sheets. Because with sturdy sheets, we could make the enchanting guide. We could make a sturdy propeller for space stuff again. Fuel tanks for steam and rails. I wish that there was a, like, understanding for that one. Cooking guide. Large fueling tank for stuff and additions. A small fueling tank for stuff and additions. Train schedules, which were fun last time. Rocket generator and rocket controls. So like, right, like if we wanted to go, oh, and we can turn it into sturdy sheet blocks. And of course train casings. Sample drill. Oh, that was another thing. I forgot we tried to do that. And of course flamethrower. I wanted to make a flamethrower. We did not have the resources to making a flamethrower. We tried to do something with this stupid ore vein finder. Boom. We know that there's water roughly about 250 blocks, or within 250 blocks away. Look, Dinosaur Island. Zoop on over to our base. Follow. We can see, right, it gives you these fun circles that tell you this is where the water could be within this block. And, like, that's interesting and all, but, like, you would have to get so lucky that you built your base in the right spot, because otherwise you'd have to afterwards go and, like, build a new base in order to do the mining machine. And I guess I don't comprehend why that's a good thing. Back in immersive engineering, we could just build the extractor and it would just extract. Like, it would just take out resources. It wouldn't always be, like, the best, because again, you did have to, like, core sample to figure out, like, what resources you were going to get in the chunk that you built it in. But that was that, right? Or vein atlas, vein types. Nothing. So we built these, and they turned out to be quite useless. As it seems like, honestly, has been mostly the point of this season, is uselessness. But hey, we got this obsidian building pretty good. Another thing that we did this season that worked out really well is energy production. So by utilizing the tree farm that we had, we were able to then turn the tree farm into infinite charcoal. The infinite charcoal would then supply the blaze burners over here with heat, which would then allow us to make this boiler work better. It's got too much water at the moment. We could have made it bigger, but not really too much bigger, because like there would be a fine line between how much charcoal we're producing per second kind of thing versus how much we're utilizing. But 4,900 or 49,000, sorry, 49,000 capacity for energy is insane, given that most of our machines are only using, like, minimal amounts. Like, that's not even 1,000. That's not even 1,000. This whole setup here doesn't even take 1,000. The mining machine doesn't even come close. This thing obviously takes over 1,000. And we have 2 of those running, but this thing doesn't take anything. This thing, is 1,000. So we got like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, like maybe roughly, if I had to guess, about 8,000 of the units of this being used. At like that's a very generous guess as well. And then of course we have our basics of here, an early flamethrower mechanism that we built in order to make charcoal and stuff, and of course our washing machine. What? This is... I didn't put this here. Why is there suddenly... I'm always terrified to go through these things. But, I guess... see what's on the other side of this door that's in our factory. What in the world? This is... We came through the door and we're just back in the factory. No, this can't be right. We had purple here. These walls were yellow. The floor wasn't blue. The ceiling wasn't gold. Is this just my factory? But with a different color palette? What? Did we just step through into an alternate dimension of our own world? And hopefully this works the same way that it did back in the other factory. Look at this. This is literally just my factory. Somebody has stolen my factory. We gotta go talk to Gunther about this. You're not Gunther. George, no. George, you disappeared. You're not supposed to be here.
Pretty sure Alan might have fallen down into there and died. And Jack, I'm pretty sure, wandered into the forest. And yeah, so because those two were doing such a poor job defending Alpha 8, I made two new ones, George and Daryl. Well, George followed Jack out into the forest.
This isn't right. This is not the way this is supposed to be.
We found George. George managed to survive in the wilderness. He's confirmed that Jack died out there. He made it back. If you ask me, that's a little sketchy.
Who is that? Who's... This is all wrong. No.